So in the last class, we were discussing what is called as enumerations, and we said that enumerations intention is to just to hold some set of a constants. So all those constants are nothing but objects of that particular class, right? And if you are trying to create a one object, so even for so means if you are trying to assign a one particular value to any of the reference object, so all the objects will be created, right? So then whichever element you are going to assign, that particular value will be assigned, right? So one example we have seen without a passing a parameterized constructor, we have seen zero parameters constructor first, right? So we have clearly shown like those constructors will be repeated for each and every value you have in enum, right? So later we have given us some values, and we said that all these things are nothing but parameterized constructors. Okay, so whenever you are, so means we are not doing anything extra here. We are just printing whatever the values contained in these particular parameters, right? So we are calling a month dot values in the sense with respect to this particular month enumeration, whatever values you have, so those values you are storing into an array. Okay, so in that particular array with respect to each element, right, you are calling a method called m1 dot get dates. Okay, so what are this get days will do? Get days will return you the days, right? So from where you will get a days on a whichever object. See, m1 is containing each object, right? So from this particular array, now you are calling on a one object, that is on a jan object, you are calling a this particular get days method, right? So on a jan object, when you are calling a get days method, it is returning a days, right? So when you are using a this particular object, what you have said, this 31 will be assigned to a this particular d. Later a d will be assigning a value to the days, right? So with respect to jan, when you are asking for a get days, you will be getting whatever the value associated with respect to this particular object. Hope that is clear. For loop will be repeated. Now m1 will be having a feb, right? So when you are calling a feb dot get days, so it should so means you are initiating the object, right? When you are saying initiating object, this particular 28 will be assigned to this particular instance variable days, and the same thing will be written here. Okay, so this will be repeated with respect to all the constants in enum, right? So this is the example which we have seen in the last class. Again, I'm giving you 1 minute. If you have any questions with respect to example, you can post a questions. If you don't have a questions, I have a one more program to be displayed, and if you are clear with this, then obviously you will be clear with respect to that example also. Okay, so here is an example, and that example is nothing but your lab program number 10. That is not a lengthy program. Whatever we have done here, here we have written a January, February, March, right? So there we have written a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, similar to that. Okay, so this is your program statement. Read the statement carefully. If you have any questions, you can push to those things. Create an enumeration. The name of enumeration is day of week with the 7 values Sunday through Saturday, right? So you have an enumeration called a day of a week, and you have a values in that particular enumeration from Sunday to Saturday, right? After that, add a method in a question in a chat box. One second. Sir, in that program, can't we write a public in a place of a private? Uh, with respect to that program, okay, but if you are going with some intention of making it as a private is, I just wanted to have that value in only that scope. That means I don't wanted to use days value outside of that particular class. That was the only intention. So made it as a private. Okay. So enumeration name of enumeration is a day of a week, which is having all those 7 values from a Sunday to Saturday. So add a method is workday. That means with respect to enumeration, Now you have a method called a is workday. In our example, we had a method called as get days, right? So now you have a method called as is workday, right? You will be passing a value, then you will be checking whether with respect to that particular value, is it a working day or not. That means Sunday will be a holiday, right? So apart from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all those things are a working day, right? If you are passing any values other than Sunday, it should say that it is a working day. If you are passing a Sunday, then it should say that it is not a working day. Okay, so the same thing, add a method is workday to the day of a week enumeration class that returns a true if the value on which it is called is Monday through Friday. Okay, so we are taking from Monday to Friday, it's a working day, Saturday and Sunday are the holidays, right? So if you are passing all these things, that means apart from a Saturday and a Sunday, if you are passing, it should return you a true. If you are passing Saturday or a Sunday, it should return you a false, right? So with respect to our program, we were returning a day's value, right? So now we are not just a returning, we are just cross checking whether it is lying in this particular range or not. If it is lying, then true. If not lying, false. Shall we see the program? Here is a small description for enums. Okay, here is your program. Enum day of week. Okay, so that is the name which I have told to give for the enum, right? So from Monday till Sunday, you have given values. Monday is 1, Tuesday is 2, Wednesday is 3, so on till Sunday. Okay, so int val, there we have taken private int days. Now you have a int val day of week. Day of week, that means constructor is there. Intention of a constructor is whatever value is associated that you are assigning to an instance variable. Same thing, there also we had a constructor. Okay, boolean is workday, there you had a public int days, get days, right? So now you have a boolean is workday. What is the function of this one? If val is less than 6, return true, because Saturday and Sunday you are considering it as a holiday. When it is Saturday and Sunday is holiday, it should return you a false. That means those things will be considered as a holiday, Saturday and a Sunday. Apart from this, apart from a Saturday and a Sunday, all other things are a working day. So for all the working days, it is returning you a true. Okay, so for other values else, right? If it is less than 6, it is returning a true. If it is not less than 6, then it is returning a false, right? Simple, same fashion how you wrote the last program, in the same fashion. Okay, so day of a week, day is equal to day of a week dot Sunday. That means you are assigning a one value to a day. Okay, now we have to just verify, right? So you are verifying here day dot Sunday dot is work day. You are just checking. So I mean, instead of this, right, can be written in this fashion also. Day dot Sunday is work day. You are just checking what is the value of this Sunday. Value of a Sunday is 7. Sunday is a 7 value, right? We have given. When it is a 7, obviously it will return you a false. So here you will be getting a message as a false. Verification of Sunday is work day, so you got a false, right? So you have a one more statement, verification of Wednesday, day of a week dot Wednesday is work day. See, think written in a two different fashions, system dot out dot println statement. Here you can directly write, so means not required with respect to this Sunday, you can directly write day dot is work day, can be written, because day you are assigning with a Sunday, so this one is not required. Okay, you are checking whether Sunday is a work day or what, right? So that will return you a false. So in a later case, you are directly passing a value only. Day of a week dot Wednesday is work day, right? So obviously it will be a true because its value is less than 6. So for one you will get a false and other you will get a true. Any complications with the program need to be explained by copying this one into a editor and then show you output, something kind of a stuff. If you clear with the previous example, just replacing month by days, that's it. Nothing else is there. And before you coming to a conclusion, number of days, you are just cross checking whether it is true or false. Right? So it's fine, right? I can create assignment of this one in a Google Classroom. Right? If you have any confusion, go through your previous class recording. Be clear with whatever example we have discussed there. So later you can easily relate that example to this one. Clear? Right. So got a good acknowledgement. So happy that you are listening to me. Right. So that was all about your sir one question about third internals. Okay. So that is about your lab program. I'll be creating assignment of that and I'll be sharing this particular program. First execute a program, be clear, then only you submit that particular thing as a report. Right. Now what we were discussing. So means that was end of your what is called as enumerations part, right? So which is our next topic to be discussed after enumerations. I'm just opening a syllabus copy and just wanted to convey some information. Here is your syllabus copy. What we are discussing is these things. Okay, so we were discussing this particular part. Enumerations, Java enumerations are a class type, value of method, constructors, method, instance variables. Okay, so till this particular part we have discussed, and then now we need to discuss what is called as auto boxing and annotations, right? So you might be having a big question, sir. Today you are going to take one more session. It's a third hour. I'll be taking a third hour. So tomorrow we had a one class. So in a two classes, is it possible to finish this much portion? Ultimately, answer is not possible to finish in these two sessions. What I am planning to do is, what I am planning to do is, again, this is with respect to your comfort itself. I'm not going to take additional classes and all. How can we finish a portion is, now in this session, I'll be finishing auto boxing and the annotations part. Uh, tomorrow's session we will try to finish some means. Okay, so we have a third hour, right? So in a third hour we will so means we will try to finish how much ever is possible with respect to generics. Okay, so with respect to streams and swing fundamentals, right? I will be preparing a videos, my lectures itself, not from a YouTube. With respect to portions, whatever the topics need to be discussed, I will prepare a video. I will share the link of that video to you. Go through the video link whenever it is free for you. Whenever you have a time, whenever you are comfortable, you go through those particular recordings. Okay, we will keep a one session for a discussing a streams, right? It will be something like a flip classes in the sense, first I have given you a content completely. You can go through the content. If you have any doubts, you just make a point of those doubts. Okay, we will keep 1 hour for discussing a streams related queries if you have any, right? So with respect to whatever examples I have shared with respect to doubts you have, we can discuss about those doubts in one session. With respect to swing fundamentals also, you go through the video recording, whatever I'll be sharing. If you have a doubts, we will take a 1 hour for a swing. So if you have a doubts, we can discuss those doubts, right? So we will go with the flip classes for the last two topics, that is streams and swing fundamentals. And today's third hour and tomorrow's 1 hour, I'll try to finish a generics part, right? So for these two, I'll be sharing you a video recording of my own classes. Go through that. For doubts, we will keep a 2 hours for these particular doubt clarification session. Hope things are fine. This particular approach. Access modifiers. We have taken one class for access modifiers. It is done long back during the package itself. No pending topics. We have only these. I mean, if I finish the generics, then we will be left with the streams and the swing fundamentals. Only two topics will be remaining. Are there any pending topics? Because access specifiers we have discussed one day. I think if you have missed that one, there is a video in a playlist. You can go through that particular video. We have taken one class with respect to IO also, input output operations, like what is a stream buffer reader, all those things. So again, those things will come with respect to stream IO again. Okay, so I'll give you a better clarity with respect to those things in those particular videos. It will be clear. Okay with approach, right? Flip class concept. Right. So shall we start with auto boxing? Boxing means, okay, so let me give us some theoretical part, then we will see the example. Okay. Auto boxing and auto unboxing. Right. So quickly, can you post some messages or comments what you might think when you are hearing these words? What might be this boxing and unboxing? Whatever comes to your mind, so means no problem, whether it is perfectly related, partially related, not even related. We will discuss about that one later. What comes to your mind if you are seeing these two words like auto boxing and auto unboxing? Okay. Can I say what I'll get into a mind if I look at these particular words? Auto boxing. Boxing means not a fighting kind of stuff. Boxing in the sense putting some content into a box. Okay, Tej Kiran is saying unboxing some newly arrived object. Okay. Any other answers can I expect? See, once you have some idea on these particular words, right? Internal concept, it is very simple, and you have already used that concept, but you didn't name that one as auto boxing and auto unboxing. That itself is the concept. Means we have used that one. We have used all those operations, but we didn't. So means explicitly we didn't specify that this one is auto boxing and this one is auto unboxing. Okay, so let me give you a fair idea first, then we will see an example. See, auto boxing. Boxing means putting into a box something. Okay, the automatic conversion of a primitive types into a equivalent wrapper type is known as a boxing, and opposite operation is known as auto unboxing. Okay, hope this means this is a perfect definition. Hope that has not copy pasted from it. If it is not, then I'm very happy that you know this particular topic. Right. So name itself is a saying auto boxing. Boxing. First we will take a boxing. Boxing in the sense putting some content into some box. That is nothing but a boxing, right? If you have any gift, right? So you will be taking that particular item and putting into a box, right? So why you are putting into a box? What is the use of putting some element into a box? Means data tampering will not happen. Means there will be a security for that particular data, and for that particular element I can use anywhere, right? So that particular parcel, once I put an element into some box and I make it as a parcel, I can use that particular parcel comfortably, right? Instead of having a real data, so I can have that particular box, right? So same thing happens even with respect to Java also. Auto boxing in the sense whenever you have some integer data type, integer data type, right? These data types means this data will not be directly used. What they are exactly saying is, instead of handling this particular data, something like this, you can use something called as integer class. Okay, so what is the advantage of going with the integer class? That means what I'm saying is, here in a first example, you are assigning value 10 to a int variable a, right? In a second example, what you are doing is, integer is a class. For that particular class, you are creating a reference object. So in that particular reference object, you are putting a 10, right? Now with respect to second example, whether this particular a is an object, correct? With respect to first example, whether this particular a is a data type, so means normal variable, right? So in example 1, a is a variable. A is a variable. In example 2, your a is a is an object of integer type, right? So which one will be a comfortable? If which one will be comfortable means, what I'm asking exactly is, say for example, if I'm writing double, say let us take this one as, instead of a, let us take it as b. Okay, so I'm creating one more double c, which is equal to a plus b. Can it be done? First question. If it can be done, then how exactly it will be done? Why? Because your a is a normal variable, right? And a b is a object. Can I perform addition on these two things, variable and object? No. Okay, so let us pause this particular example. Let me give you one more clarity on what is the boxing, what is unboxing first. Okay, now int a is equal to 10, where a is a variable. This is fine. Now what I wanted to do is, integer b is equal to new integer of a. Can it be created something like this? B will be having the same value as the a also, but b will be a object and a will be a normal variable, correct? Now what I'm doing is, I was having a primitive type. Okay, I was having this particular primitive type. Now this particular primitive type has been made as an object. Okay, when you are converting, primitive type to object, when you are converting primitive type to object, this is called as boxing. When you are converting primitive type to object, okay, so this is called as boxing. That means primitive type, then I'm saying you just have an assumption of an element directly. Okay, so that element you are putting into a object, right? So when I say object, it belongs to some class, right? So object, so means will it be a type of a particular class, right? Now what I'm doing is, normal data I'm taking and putting into an something called as object, right? So this process of converting your primitive type to a object is called as boxing, right? There are situations wherein which your compiler will be performing boxing automatically. That means it will be converting. You are not explicitly telling anything, right? So compiler itself is doing all these things. You are just passing a normal int value, that means a primitive value, and it is creating a object for you with respect to that value. So as compiler is performing this particular boxing operation implicitly, so it is called as auto boxing. right? If I am writing, say for example, integer c is equal to new integer of some 50, I'm directly passing a value now. Now what I'm doing, direct value has been copied into an object called as a c, right? So this conversion of a primitive value to a object, right, is called as auto boxing. Clear with the definition? Reverse of this, if you have an object you wanted to put in a primitives, right, then this will be called as, and the compiler will be doing these things automatically, so this will be called as auto unboxing. Clear with the definitions? We will see an example how exactly these things can be done. Clear with the things? Primitive to object conversion is nothing but auto boxing. Object to primitive conversion is nothing but auto unboxing. As a compiler is doing this one, so no need to worry about that. Automatically that will be done. Right? Does anybody has got any questions after listening to these statements? You have to get a question. At least so means when I given a pause means there is a something fishy, right? So at least you might have thought he might be asking some question. Okay. If you are clear with the points, whatever I have said, at least acknowledge saying that clear. Then I'll ask a question. Okay. Clear, sir. My question is, can anybody answer? Why required? Why you want auto boxing, auto unboxing? Why you wanted to put a value into some class? Why you wanted to make a primitive data type as an object? Why you wanted to why you wanted to take out a value from object and take out a data from it? Why the necessity of auto boxing and auto unboxing is there? In which scenario you will be using that? Did I ask a valid question? To avoid a type casting. Avoid the typecasting can't be, because anyhow we'll be making sure that the things will be in the same type only. If I'm passing here some character value, means instead of passing a 50, I cannot pass some string over here. It will throw you error saying that you are creating object of integer and how you are assigning a string to it. Not possible. Not for the sake of a typecasting. Any other answers? Sometimes language does this automatically. Not sometimes. Every time a language will does this one automatically. But my question is, why you wanted to make uh, auto boxing and auto unboxing? Why you require that one? Why can't you directly access with the data? Why you want to put that one in? Why you want to convert a data to an object? Vice versa. Why you wanted to take out element? So means why you want to take out a data from the object? Okay. It is easy to write to code. See, writing int a is equal to 10 is a simple for me. Instead of writing integer b is equal to new integer of a. Kevin, when we want to execute a certain function on a, but still want to keep the original data, then we use auto boxing. Okay. See, let us keep things simple. One thing. Let me remove all these things. Hope you are comfortable with the definition called auto boxing and auto unboxing. It is easier to read. That only I'm telling you. I am more comfortable in reading int a is equal to 10. I don't wanted to read this integer b is equal to new integer of a. That is not my intent. Right. So let me explain why. Now, when I have a primitive data, I am putting this particular primitive data into an object. That means I am doing a process of auto boxing. Intention of making auto boxing, that means intention of creating an object, intention of putting a data into object is, you can use all the methods of object related thing, right? Whatever the methods are there with respect to object, right? So our language itself is object oriented, right? It is object oriented. Making a something as an object, you can easily work with that particular data. That is one point why you are going to make data into an object, right? So this is simple. Like if you have a direct data, you cannot transfer that direct data directly, because say for example, if you want to courier some element, how you will courier an element? You'll be putting that one in a some cover, then you will be writing a from and to address, and then you will be sending that particular element, right? You will not directly write a to and from address on a element itself and you will courier, right? Intention of putting a element into a courier is it will be easy, it will be some security is there with respect to a data, and nobody can see that particular data, and it can be easily moved from a one place to another place, can be easily consumed, right? So that is the purpose of making a some data as an object. Basic intention. Then reverse process. Why you wanted to do auto unboxing? Why I wanted to do auto unboxing in the sense, example is something like this. If I am writing, say for example, I have created a three variables, something like this. Int a is equal to 10, b is equal to some 20, and I have a something called as a c. Now my intention is I wanted to calculate a c is equal to a plus b, right? So assume that for executing this particular expression c is equal to a plus b, your compiler might take some 2 seconds. Okay, so same example I'll write here. Now I'll be not using a primitive data types, rather I'll be taking objects. I'll be saying object a is equal to 10. Not don't worry about the syntax, I'm just giving an example. B is equal to 20, and you have created a reference object which is a c, and you are writing a c is equal to a plus b, right? So what might be the amount of a time taken for this particular uh, process to be done? Will it be equivalent to 2 seconds, or will it be less than 2 seconds, or will it be greater than 2 seconds? What you think? What might be the answer for this? Less than 2 seconds. Okay. So anybody else who feels like equivalent to a 2 seconds or greater than 2 seconds? Greater than, greater, greater. Okay. Yes. Answer is greater than 2 seconds. Why? Because whenever you are passing a primitive types, right? So evaluation will be a direct evaluation. That means with respect to a and b, I'll be getting a data, I can directly perform a 10 and a 20. But when you are performing a operation on objects, when you are performing operation on objects, you just assume that you got a two envelopes. One envelope is having a 10 and another envelope is having a 20. Now if you wanted to perform addition on those things, first you have to do auto unboxing. That means you have to open an envelope, take out the data with respect to a. Similarly with respect to b also, open an envelope, take out the data, right? Once you have a data, then you can perform addition. What basically means, if you have any operations, arithmetic operations or any operations on a data, your primitive data types will execute faster rather than putting a data in objects. But why you want objects is, I wanted to carry that particular data in a different places, so I am putting into an object, right? But when it comes to operation, obviously when you are doing operation, you have to perform auto unboxing, take out a value, then only perform the operation, right? When evaluating this expression, I'll tell you what are the things going to happen with respect to a. That means you got a plus as an operator, right? So first it will go for a, right? So with respect to a, first it will perform unboxing operation, right? So unboxing of a plus unboxing of b, right? Whatever answer you will get, that will be a primitive value, right? 10 plus 20, now it is a primitive data 30, right? Now this particular primitive data need to be copied to c. Is it an object or a primitive data type? It is an object. When it is an object, again, what happens is primitive to object you are passing, right? So this particular unboxing will become something called as boxing, right? How this expression evaluated when you are passing the objects is, first unboxing of A will take place, then unboxing of a B will take place. Once the unboxing is done, addition will be performed. So when you got an answer, some answer, that answer will be of a primitive type. So that will be again boxed because C is the object, right? Are we taking any special instructions for doing these things? Not required. Your compiler will take care of all these things. So this is nothing but auto boxing and auto unboxing, and these are the scenarios why you will be going with auto boxing and auto unboxing. Boxing will be a comfortable to carry the data from one place to another place, different points we can use, and the data security will be provided for the data. So that is the purpose of making something as a boxing, right? On a boxed, that means directly on objects, primitive operations cannot be performed, right? So that is the reason why unboxing will be performed first, then operations will be carried out. If you are assigning a value to a primitive, then directly will be assigned. If you are assigning a value to an object, then obviously again a boxing will be done, right? Why you are doing unboxing and performing a evaluation of expression is performance will be a better, right? So even though you are giving an object, on a direct object operations cannot be performed, so it will be unveiled, direct data will be taken, operations will be executed. Clear with a statement called auto boxing and auto unboxing. So sir, int will be a more relevant, it is taking a less time. Yes, working with the primitive data types will be always faster when compared to working with the objects. When you have a requirement of evaluating the expressions, basically expression evaluation and all, it is recommended to go with the basic primitive data types. Any questions? Shall we go through the PPT? What are the statements are there in a PPT? It will be like a revision kind of a stuff for us now. Shall we? Okay. 1 second. Okay, so we'll start from here. Right. So you have a something called as a type wrappers or a wrapper classes. Wrapper classes in nothing but envelopes, right? You have a data for that particular data. You wanted some envelope. So those envelopes are nothing but your wrapper. Wrapper is nothing but covering, right? So covering classes. Okay. So if you have a primitive type called a boolean, for that boolean you have a cover wrapper class which is called as boolean only. For a char primitive type, you have a wrapper class called as character. For a double data type, primitive data type, you have a wrapper class that is called as double, right? Similarly, for a float, int, and a long, you have a suitable wrapper classes for these primitive types. Okay, so these primitive types will be put on these particular wrapper classes. Okay, then what is this one is called as converting primitive types to object types. Primitive type you are converting to an object type. Primitive type F converting to an object type. Primitive type D converting to an object type called as a dval, right? So this process is nothing but boxing. Yes, extracting the value contained in an object. Extracting, right? So you have an object now, so that particular object value you are assigning to a primitive type. Okay, so I have an object called as ival. So from that I'm using a method called as int value. That means I am going to tell that you take out a value from this particular object. See, we have created object here. So from that particular object, you are taking out an integer value, right? So assigning into a this particular primitive, right? So f value using a float value, that means that is a method to take out a value from the object. So assigning to a primitive type, right? So observe the things, don't do a mistakes while writing an explanation for this. Whenever you are writing a primitive types, always it will start with a lower case. Okay, whenever you are talking about an object, you will be talking with respect to its class name, so it will start with the capital values, capital names, right? So this is nothing but unboxing. You have a value in an object that you are putting into a primitive type. Converting a string objects to a object, because basically string itself is a object value, so object to object you are passing. See, string you have str is a input, so value of str you are trying to convert into a integer, string to integer object, string to double, right? Converting primitive types to a string possible, can be converted. 10 can be converted, can be made as a integer 10, right? Long can be made as an integer long, that means string long, right? I wanted to convert a primitive type to a strings, right? All these things are possible. Auto boxing and auto unboxing. Auto boxing is the process by which primitive type is automatically encapsulated into its equivalent type wrapper whenever an object of that type is needed. That means you are trying to put a primitive data into that particular suitable class only, right? Suitable classes object, not any object, right? You cannot create a double object and uh, okay, double I can put some. Okay, so I don't wanted to go with a character. I wanted to put in some double object. Okay, so you need to use the suitable object for putting a suitable data. Auto unboxing, so that was a boxing, that means creating a gift wrapper. Boxing, unboxing, taking out a data from a already wrapped value, right? Auto unboxing is the process by which the value of a boxed object is automatically extracted from a type wrapper when its value is needed, right? So to do this one, you will be having a methods called as, if you want to take out the integer value, int value. If you want to take out a double value, then double value method. Example, auto box and int, that means integer value you are putting into an object, right? Primitive to a object, so obviously it is boxing. Unboxing, object is there, I'm putting into a primitive type, so this is unboxing. Auto boxing and methods. See, uh, example is a simple, what we have shown in this example is, say from a main method you are creating one integer object, right? So for this m you are passing a value as 100. It is a primitive value, right? But what is the argument you have here to accept that one? Integer object you have, right? So now auto boxing will take place. Boxing will take place. 100 has been copied to integer of a v, right? Primitive type has been copied into an object type. Okay, return v. See, example is a simple, from a m you are passing a primitive type, so primitive type will be copied to a integer v, so you are performing a boxing, right? Return you are saying a v, return v in the sense object return, but with respect to method you are passing, so means return type of a method is an integer. Now object will be converted to a primitive type. Okay, so what is happening? Object to primitive type, auto unboxing. From 100 to integer v, boxing happens. From this particular v to a return type of int, unboxing happens, and the system.out.println will get a integer value, that means a primitive value, right? Nowhere we are explicitly saying to perform these things, but JVM is performing all these things implicitly, right? You are directly passing 100, right? There you are writing integer v. Okay, JVM is implicitly converting this particular 100 to an object of an integer b. That means automatically it performs a boxing. In other case also, v you are writing, but a return type is integer. It is performing auto boxing automatically, right? So no need to worry about these things. You have to simply use data. You can simply use data and objects in a similar fashion. No discrimination can be given with respect to those. Similarly, here also you have an example, auto boxing and unboxing occurs in expressions also. Initially, we have taken IOB is equal to 100. If you are performing a plus plus IOB, this is a 101, right? So 101 will means will not be happening directly, but internally, this is a boxing process happened. That means 100 you are copying into a IOB. That means a boxing has happened. Now, when it want to add a 1 to it, so it performs an unboxing first, then adds 1 to it, then it will rebox that particular value, right? Unboxes IOB, increments, and then reboxes back, right? So these things will be done automatically. No need to worry how to do a auto boxing and auto unboxing. We can seamlessly use your primitive types and objects, right? So similarly, when you have a division operation, addition operations, whenever there is arithmetic operations to be done, so operation will be done on a primitive types itself, not directly on an object, right? When it has to do on a primitive types, if you are passing primitive types directly, operations will be done. If you are passing object, then auto unboxing will be done, operation will be done. If you are assigning to object, then again boxing will be done, right? Hope no confusions with respect to these examples. If I execute this program also, there it will not be showing any statement like auto boxing happens, unboxing happens, boxing happens. Nothing can be displayed because things will be done internally, right? So that is the reason why I'm directly displaying a program for you with the proper comments of that particular statement. Clear with the example? Any confusions in any of the lines with respect to example I have displayed? Okay, concept is a simple, but you should have a awareness. See, that was the reason initially why I paused some time to give us some alternate answers for a boxing and unboxing, right? So this is generally what is a boxing and unboxing, right? So auto unboxing allows to mix a different types of numeric objects in an expression. That means if you have a different data types, say for example, you have an integer and a double value, and you wanted to perform addition on these things, right? So when you want to perform addition on these things, say for example, the first argument is the double data type, and the second argument is of an integer data type. Obviously this particular answer will result into a double primitive type itself, right? So that particular double primitive type will be boxed into a this particular double object. Okay, so keep one thing in mind, the same example which I have shown in a notepad. Whenever you have operations to be done, direct objects will not come into a picture. Objects will be, so means data from objects will be taken out. Operations will be done on those particular data. If a typecasting is necessary at that particular expression evaluation, typecasting will happen. Later, unboxing kind of stuff will happen, right? So here in this example, double added with the integer, so answer will be a double itself because that is the highest data type. So later boxing will happen with respect to a double object, right? So similarly with respect to switch statement also, for a switch statement, if you are passing a object, right, IOB, so directly with respect to object it will not go to that particular case. It will perform a unboxing. Once it performs unboxing, it checks what is the primitive value you are passing. Based on a value only, it will go to that particular case, right? And all these things will be done with the JVM automatically, no need to worry. So it is called as auto boxing and auto unboxing. Okay, so even with respect to boolean also, whenever you are writing if of a b, while of a b, you are checking the status of this particular value, right? Boolean, see capital B in the sense object. Okay, when you are passing object also, while checking a condition, it will unbox that. sees the status, then only if it is a true set of statement, false set of statements. Clear with the examples? So generics we will be taking in our 11:30 session. Any questions with respect to auto boxing and unboxing? You can post those questions in a today's class. First, I have shown you an example on that particular enumeration. I'll be creating assignment of that enumeration after this particular class or after 11:30 class, right? So then we have started explanation with respect to auto boxing and unboxing. Explicitly, we are not going to do anything with respect to program. We will be just seamlessly using the primitive types and the objects, right, without differentiating them. But internally, JVM will take care of this particular process of unboxing and boxing, right? I told you clearly what is the purpose of going with the unboxing and the boxing. Evaluation expression will always takes place based on their primitive values only, right? You can leave the session. Thanks for making a session very interactive one.